Hello everyone, I'm Brian Lowry from RothReady, and we focus exclusively on Roth conversions to help you sell more FIAs. And we are really excited about our partnership with Ames. I'm going to go through this presentation here, but please take advantage of going to amesascend.com/RothReady to get a little more in-depth demo because I'm going to be going through this pretty fast. So let's start off with the RothReady marketing, sales, and tech team. We got Bob Nees, Certified Financial Fiduciary Marketing Director, Matt Massaros, Registered Financial Consultant and Head of our Operations, and then Brian Lowry, who's Investment Advisor Representative and the Director of Roth Conversion Planning, which is me. All right, so why target the Roth conversion market? First off, it's a $30 trillion IRA niche market. IRA owners face a looming tax problem because all of that money in those qualified accounts, it's never been taxed, right? And not only are they going to have to pay taxes on the balance, they're going to have to pay taxes on all the growth, and so will the heirs. So a lot of them are motivated to convert to Roth, but here's the problem. It's an underserved market, and advisors don't have the right tools or systems to maximize the conversions, and in a lot of times they don't even have the answers. They just don't even want to have the discussion, right? They got to put their hands up and they don't want to talk about it. So it's really tough for consumers to get a really good answer about what does a Roth conversion look like for me. And that's where you come in. You can become the Roth conversion expert. So prospects see you as a conversion expert, and that builds trust, and more trust equals more sales. So how Roth conversions led to 5 times more FIA premium. So a paradigm shift in FIA sales happened for Bob Nees. So Bob in 2023 did 1.7 million in FIA sales, but by June 1st of 2024, he was at 6.8 million in sales. And why did that happen? Because he began to focus exclusively on the niche of Roth conversion. So his average premium per case went up to 374,000, right? There's look at his little book of business there at 6.298 million over there at Athene. Sales came much easier to close. And then the one other thing that Bob learned is he learned the secret of the 3-way sales call. It's having a subject matter expert like myself on your sales call. We're going to talk a little more about that. So the formula to 5x your FIA sales by focusing on the Roth conversion niche combined with our marketing and sales system built specifically for Roth conversions. So we have a turnkey Roth conversion marketing sales system, co-branded advisor, landing page, and marketing funnels positions you as the Roth expert. Sales automation assistant follow-up, less manual follow-up, and a Roth IRA Conversion Pro is going to prepare your prospect reports and help you close the deals. It's really important. Okay, so behind the RothReady system, we have a systemized chronological process that moves the prospect through a sales cycle, provides ongoing nurturing combined with a comprehensive Roth conversion illustration. Proprietary Roth conversion software analyzes numerous data points and developed by a licensed fiduciary with field experience. RothOS includes a combination of done with you and done for you services so that we can cut your sales cycle time and dramatically reduce your workload. So here's a little example of the website that you're going to see. Okay, we're going to have lots of times where they can go to the quiz, get their snapshot, right, the roadmap. Okay, so we're just kind of showing them here what is available to them if they want to take advantage of it. And at the bottom of this landing page, of course, is your sales information. Basically, this right here sets you up to look like you are a Roth expert. Now, here's the process that's going to really help you get the clients all the way into making the decision to do a Roth conversion through you. So first off, they got the landing page, right? They're going to take the quiz. That quiz will generate a snapshot, which we will do and deliver to you and the prospect. And then we can set an appointment where we go and review that. And the first couple of appointments, I will actually get on those sales calls with you directly, me, Brian Lowry, and they go through it a little bit, and it's going to develop some curiosity because it doesn't really give them a lot of information. It's very contrasting. It just shows that, oh, there's some big savings here. Well, how did you get to these numbers? We got to ask you a little bit more questions, get a little more in depth about your situation, and then we're going to come back with a roadmap, which is a lot more detailed view of the Roth conversion strategy, and also a lot more contrast in terms of here's what you're doing now, here's where you're likely heading if you don't do a conversion, and here's where you can be if you do a conversion. Again, I'm going to be on that call with you, and I'm going to help you go through that process with them and show them that Roth roadmap so they can make a really informed decision, and so that I can answer any tough questions that they might have. I'm going to be your third party subject matter expert on Roth conversions. All right, so let's keep going. So we got RothReady co-blend advisor site, we got a Roth IQ quiz, tax savings snapshot and roadmap, and that's, again, that's done for you. We do that, okay? We deliver it to you. We have the operating system, the Roth OS, and then we have the appointment sales support. That's with me getting on those calls with you. All right, so you've got the fact finder, you've got the snapshot, and then we've got the roadmap. And I'm going to go through an example of a roadmap right now. All right, so here we have a snapshot. And again, we're always going to assume net inheritance for just the snapshot. And it's just to keep things really simple. And I have to ask a ton of questions and show also a lot of contrast. But this is basically, you know, we're sending this to the client or getting this in front of the client to get them curious, to get them asking questions, to get a little bit more in-depth information on their situation. They probably at this point are going to say, hey, you know, whoever the advisor is, I need income. You show me how this would look with Roth income, and absolutely we could do that. But these examples for here are net inheritance. And we got in the snapshot, we've got client assumptions, we've got the lifetime outcomes, we have an estimated tax comparison. And really we're going to highlight the fact that not only are they going to pay taxes on the income, but their heirs are going to pay income taxes too. So you can think of it almost an inheritance tax, although it's his income taxes for them, but they've got to pull that money out within a 10-year period once they inherit that account. And that can be significant. So we're talking 25, 30 years, 40 years even in the future. People are still going to be paying tax on this IRA. Or they can convert all the money now and no one will ever pay another tax on this money ever again. So this is a real simple snapshot, and it's there just to get the people curious and get them asking questions and all that kind of stuff. And then that's going to transition. It gets a little bit more information, a little more depth, and we're going to go to a Roth roadmap. Again, this one could be client inheritance, and this particular one it's net inheritance, or it could be income. You know, there's two types of prospects: one that needs their Roth for income, and that one that does not. That's all there is. Okay, so we do have, if you see here, we do have an assumption of future tax increases, and unless you say otherwise, I'm always going to put 10% right now, because starting in 229, the current senior enhanced deduction, which is currently at $6,000 per husband and wife, it's going to drop down to $1,500, and that's going to add anywhere from 8 to 12%. We just put it at 10 for most prospects. Again, this roadmap here, we got the client assumptions. Got a little bit more in depth though. Got a little bit more information about them. We found out, you know, in this specific example, they got some non-qualified money. That can be a normal thing. And again, this example is for somebody that had $1 million, but it could be somebody with 100,000 or 250 or whatever. You know, I chose $1 million because it can show some pretty good contrast. It's just easy to see on the screen when I'm going really fast. Okay, but you can see here right now with no conversion, you know, estimated 1.3 million in taxes you're going to pay over time. Okay, they could do a conversion. We got the conversion a little bit less expensive down there at 298 over a 7-year conversion schedule. This is their current plan. And not to get too complicated here, but this just goes over kind of a little bit about what their allocations are. We can show them the sequence of returns. These are the RMDs that they'll have to pay based on their returns. And we started here in 2019. I'll show you the significance of that as I go to the Roth inheritance conversion. So here we just said, well, what if you did a conversion back in 2019? You know, today's 225, so we're just looking back 7 years. Okay, and in this particular example, we chose a delayed crediting strategy, which essentially is just a 7-year point-to-point with a par and a floor. This one doesn't have, just a par. Some have par and floor if it's annual sum. I'm going to that in a second. We did get their conversion cost down to 298, and we were able to do that because when we got a little bit more granular with anybody's particular situation, sometimes we'll find gaps in income. We're like, well, I'm going to stop working at year 5. And I have some savings I can live off of, but we could do a bigger and part of the conversion during that year. It just depends on the person's situation. Everybody's situation is a little bit different, okay? But what I want you to notice is that we have plotted out for them a conversion schedule. This is something they're searching for, and we have told them exactly what the federal, state, IRMA fees are going to be. This is gold, guys. Knowing what it's going to cost you to convert is gold. And then knowing how that transitions, like what does that look like for me in terms of where's my value going to be in 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years in the future. So anyway, this delayed interest crediting strategy too is really interesting. It's a place they can only do that in an annuity. And I'm going to go right into this over here. I've got a little slide on power of delayed interest crediting, and they can only get this from an annuity. And what it allows them to do is do a whole conversion inside the annuity, and then all of the interest is applied to the Roth side. And it's significant. That makes a huge, it could save them $100, if they got $1 million, it'll probably save them 100, 200,000. If they've got $100,000, it'll probably still save them $5,000 or $6,000, $7,000 in conversion cost. And every dollar is going to account for your clients. So, we could obviously, we could have illustrated a bonus annuity here, and there's nothing wrong with bonus annuities. And for some prospects, a bonus annuity is a good way to offset the cost of taxes. But in a lot of the ways that these are done, a lot of ways, the annuity bonus can ending up costing the prospect more money because now they have to convert the bonus. Unless you're applying the bonus after conversion, just keep in mind that if you're applying the bonus before conversion, that they're going to add to their conversion costs because now they got to pay taxes on that bonus. So this could be another way that you could look at this is with this delayed crediting strategy. I think it's a fantastic way to put all of that interest over on the Roth side so they don't have to pay taxes on it. And then there are 2 income slides here, and this is mostly just to show you how their income is laid out. This is their income. These taxes here, this is all the taxes they'll pay on all of their income, not just their withdrawals on their IRA, but all of their income taxes, okay? But then look, if they do a conversion though, you can see these tax liability on their current income will drop dramatically because withdrawals from an IRA, they affect the tax liability on your Social Security, and they can make your Social Security taxable. So this is just another contrast to show them, hey, not much taxes. Yeah, you pay some taxes up front up here, right? But you don't have to pay all the taxes down below. And you can see if they do take income out of the Roth, that's a net income increase of $880,000 over that time period. And then we end with a little graph there. And of course, a Roth roadmap summary. We just kind of summarize again their situation. In case there's maybe any other pieces, maybe they weren't exact about anything. We really, for the roadmap, we want to be pretty exact about what the situation is going to be and what the situation is going to be in the next couple of years. We have an income breakdown here. Again, we end with just the contrast, like, hey, either, you pay now $298, about $300,000, or you can pay about $1.3 million over the next 25, 30 years, and you're going to pay taxes, and everybody's going to pay taxes on that thing. I mean, no way to escape the taxes with this stuff. Okay, let's get back to it. All right, I'm going to summarize what we can bring to the table, and I know I've gone through this pretty fast. I want to remind you to go check out our demo, but go from the Roth IQ quiz information, and then also whatever annuity you choose. The Roth roadmap product is agnostic. We don't care what annuity, although you should choose a company that actually does Roth conversions. So the annuity is the foundation of conversions. You can see with that delayed crediting, there's some special things that annuities can do between that delayed crediting and also bonuses in some cases work. We want to do something that's obviously in the client's best interest. But the really big part of this, and hopefully you caught that, is that we're going to calculate their conversion taxes, their federal, their state, and their IRMA. And we look at their RMDs, their death taxes, right? All that stuff. It really is important because they're not getting that right now. They're getting estimations. If you go back, and we can go through that with you live with the prospect that you have, but we're going to actually calculate the actual federal tax, the actual state tax, and the IRMA. We have to tell them it's estimated, but it's based on the federal tax liabilities in all these different states, what their tax liability would be based on their information. And the only place where it's always standard deduction. So if they do long form and they deduct a whole bunch of stuff and the deductions are larger than standard, hey, great. That means that their conversion costs would be less than what we're illustrating. But with just standard deduction and the income information that they gave us, and this is the conversion schedule they follow, that is what the taxes will be for 226. They pay in 227. So I think it's really important that I highlight that. we're doing before and after comparisons, and we're looking also at their negative sequence returns and how income would be affected, would affect their actual balance, has an effect on it. IRA versus Roth, the tax liability comparisons. Because look, if you have $1 million now, you're not just going to pay taxes on the million, you're going to pay taxes on all of the growth. And so $1 million of growth to $10 million, there's a lot of taxes that are in there. In fact, taxes are the worst in a bear market, according to nationally recognized. Taxes are a huge component of the overall value. And I think it's a mistake that people make when they look at their statements. They're like, well, I have 500,000. No, you have 500,000 less all the taxes you're going to pay on that 500,000. And any growth that you have on that 500,000, you're going to pay taxes on that as well. The tax liability on a pre-tax account like a 401k, IRA, right? It's big. The potential tax liability on those accounts is very, very large, and it can also affect the tax liability on their Social Security, as we talked about earlier. That those RMDs, they have to force those out, and that income will raise the tax liability on their Social Security. It can throw them past the threshold, and all of a sudden they owe taxes now on their Social Security, and they see a large increase there. It could also throw them into owing some IRMA fees. Maybe if they're a higher income individual, higher income in retirement, it could throw them into having IRMA fees. And here's the window of opportunity. Right now, we know that tax liability currently, it's the lowest it's been in decades. If your prospect wanted to do a conversion, they should do it now during this window. Now, granted, if they've got $1 million and we've shown them 5 or 6, 7 year conversion schedule, maybe not be able to get it done in 2.5 years or just under 3 years, but maybe with their situation they can. Maybe we can close it, squeeze it up, and they do it in a real short period of time, because we don't know what will happen to taxes. In fact, we do know at a minimum, right, that starting in 229, the senior enhanced benefit is going to go from 15,000 down to 3,000. So this is 12,000 in enhanced benefit gone, and that just 12,000 now they have to pay higher taxes on. That's all that coming out of their deduction. That's now going to get added back into their income. Okay, so they got this 2.5 year window to max out the annuity sales for you, and also to help those clients. There's a 2.5 year window to help these clients get going on these conversions before it becomes more expensive to convert, because it could definitely become more expensive to convert. So again, you're going to get the RothReady co-branded page, access to our system, automated follow-up, okay, tax savings snapshot, and our roadmap prepared by us and delivered with you to the prospect, right, where we actually get on appointments. And I think that's super valuable to have me get on an appointment with you and be your subject matter expert. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, how much does this stuff cost? What do I have to pay to get this done? Okay, well, a couple things. So first off, I'm just going to go through this. It's a one-time fee right now for $1,500 to get signed up. But then we also go on the app for 20%. Okay, you keep 80, but I think it's well worth it to have me on those sales calls, helping you close that business, answering the tough questions. The prospect says, well, how did you come up with the California tax rate? Or how do you know what my California taxes are going to be on a conversion? Because we know it's public information. I know what the California tax laws are on his conversion or her conversion based on what their income is now. And they give us a detailed income report, right? And what we're going to add for the conversion. And I know what their gross AGI is going to be. And so I can tell them what their federal, state, and their IRMA fees are going to be based on that information. It's just a lot of math that I already worked into the software program, right? And they can ask me those tough questions and I can answer for you. I can be your third-party subject matter expert when it comes to Roth conversion. I can be your Roth conversion expert. So that's all I have for you guys. Again, I highly encourage you to go look at that demo, AIMSAscend/RothReady. That's where the demo is going to be. Go there, explore things a little bit more, and look at the demo of our, for CRM and kind of like what we do with drips and stuff for the prospects, but also what do these roadmaps look like? And we'll have a couple of different versions of roadmaps. One of them being the income roadmap. You're probably all curious about that. That's super powerful to have that Roth income. I mean, you can really increase your net income without, you know, accelerating your taxes and getting clobbered for your Social Security and all that. It's just beautiful. All right, guys, I hope that I was able to pique your interest enough to check out the demo and get a better idea of how you could become a Roth expert, Roth conversion expert. Thank you.